All right, this is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your live market chat Tuesday, July 16th, 2024. Come on, guy, get it together. July 16th, 2024. Hopefully you're having a good day, interesting day, that's for sure. Got a lot to talk about, so grab a coffee, hit pause if you need. If you're watching it live, go grab a water, give it a minute for people to come in, get situated, and get to going. Just want to talk about real estate for a second. Very interesting out there. Just seeing a lot of price cuts, seeing a lot of interesting action in this area, especially in Denver, hearing some other parts of the country, again, depending on the price points, having better demand, especially in the lower end, and then some on the high end getting stuck. Now, I have a trade that I think it makes a lot of sense, which I really want to reveal here in a little bit. And hopefully you can see how, in the end, we don't know anything for sure, but a probability-based trader, if you're watching the markets, you have an idea about what's to come. It becomes very clear that there's definitely going to be some volatility coming. And so how do we prepare for that? So if you're new to the channel, check out the Discord room, link in description below. Again, if you're looking to buy, sell, invest in real estate, holler at your boy. Again, helping out a good friend of mine, another part of the country. Well, I guess the northwest, find an agent. And it's just amazing. Like talking to some of these folks, they don't even, this could be you, it could be anybody. Talking to agents and just had no clue, literally no clue how to serve their clients the best interest. And just, if you want someone just to open doors for you and you're buying, fine. If you want someone just to throw your house on the MLS, fine, you can do that. But I wish you luck. If you want good deals, you want to get the best prices for your listing, you got to work with a pro. Again, if you had a medical injury, something strongly going against you, whether it's in a, say, law, health, dental, whatever you want, child care, do you use just the cheapest crap that you can find? Just the first recommendation someone gives you, or do you do a little homework and you talk to multiple people and you get second opinions, or you just allow fate to take over? Because again, if you want to be like that, go right ahead. Not the clients I'm talking about the people who want to work with the best, because it's going to cost you basically no difference. That's the irony here, is it's like, is every doctor good? Is every lawyer good? Is every person good? No. So, all right, cool. What's up? Glad some of the folks in the Discord room are available. Yeah, Jay, I got you on the Reddit. We'll check that out here shortly. And I just want to roll through some things. Again, if you're new to the channel, check out the Discord room. Take the link. Hit me up if you want. I'm going to post this in the chat. Feel free to schedule 30 minutes. We'll see how I can help you, see what we got going on, especially if you have some real estate trading questions. Again, Discord room, tradingagent.com. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell again. Again, I appreciate all you guys taking time. If you're listening to the videos, hitting the like button, leaving a comment, helping the algorithms, because again, this is how potentially people find what they're looking for. Again, the algorithm has to put them in touch with it. I want, again, goal to help as many people as we can. All right, so we know now, man, have you seen this? Again, if you haven't been paying attention, I'll drop the Fed Fund Futures link into the description as well. We're now looking at potentially, not obviously in July yet, look at this, 91%. That's basically a lock. Now you start talking about a 50-point basis cut. Oh, if they're doing 50 points in September, then things must be falling off a freaking cliff, y'all. Be careful out there. Again, be careful. I don't know what the right answer is near term on certain things, but I do have some trades that I think make complete sense, because we see what's happening, right? So Bitcoin held range lows, bouncing up here, watching the 64. Oil pulling back, not surprisingly, after it's had a nice run. Hurricane stuff. Natty gas, come to daddy. Come to daddy. Now again, I'd love to see it down here, because again, I don't think you're going to see, it's like the dollar store for natural gas. It ain't going to sustain long term. So what do we know, right? What do we know? The Feds are likely going to cut. Means things are not going so hot. Not so hot. So knowing that, I'll really kind of think it's probably going to be the easiest trade coming up here shortly. But I want to go through Reddit because, if you ask, I will deliver. It's interesting. Pro gap down. Looks like a bull trap. Again, if you're looking at like the 10-minute chart on this, right, it makes sense that, okay, here you go. You long wicket, give it up, 20 days next. Let me just do what I would do if I'm watching this, looking at this chart. You got the trend line, primary trend. Let's draw some fibs in. See if they line up with major support. Okay, it's looking close. Wouldn't be surprised by first support right here at the 57.70, because again, that's the IPO high. Just trying to figure out where some zones of support resistance. I mean, somewhere in this 50 zone would be the next support. People who, again, asking about this for a short, pro gap down. I mean, it looks like it. Not going to argue that. Again, ask questions if you want me to go over charts. Because again, this is interesting, because this is never, I mean, pretend this was the bottom, right? If these candles were green, I could flip this upside down. You'd be going, oh, shiznit. That's the bottom. That's the pro gap to go up. Now, it doesn't mean necessarily that it has to like just melt down in a straight line. But it does mean that, in my opinion, I'd be watching for bounces to short. Tight risk, define it, keep it simple. See if there's any other questions before I move on. Hopefully that helps, my man. And if you're stuck on a live call, be on later for live. All right, hit me up. We'll go review it again just for you, Jay. Because again, if you watch it afterwards, again, I like this chart for short. It looks short-delicious. All right, so let's get into what I think is probably going to be the easiest trade possible. It's going to be the TLT. Again, if we know the Feds are going to cut, and again, it's not about when they cut and how they cut. It's people know they're cutting. They're going to be preemptive. It makes sense now that, if you've been following the channel, we said watch this level. You bust right back down to trend. Well, what did I say that week? I'm like, that's really freaking confusing. Well, what do I know about times in the markets when I'm confused? What do I know? Typically when the confusion is at its highest, especially someone like myself or the people who've been following it, that's sometimes the best way to fleece people when things don't make sense. Hopefully that does make sense. And meaning if the market is meant to take the most amount of money from the most amount of people, you have to be aware that what the market makers are trying to do is to confuse the masses. Interest rates going higher, inflation still kind of picking up. Like, this is what's so hard. And this is where I keep telling people, like, if you're betting on some sort of pullback in time, this is where, again, I think the TLT makes sense. And even if the market doesn't pull back, you could see money flooding into it. And if you're not familiar with 2008, 2009, any of the other sequencing of, say, for even like COVID, right? Like, you're going to get some big moves in the interest rate complex. And here it is in 2008, 2009. So, I mean, was that a good trade? 90 up to 120? I mean, it's not bad. So I'm anticipating that at some point that people will run to safety. Because, again, you can't you can tell they're already leaving tech. Trying to be very honest with people, because I think a lot of people will just sit here going, oh, you tech forever. And it's like, all right, well, there's clearly distribution at the highs. The insiders can't sell fast enough. Retail is the only one buying. And again, right now, you've got some gold action, which is interesting to me, again, because you're pivoting. That's what we talked about. Now, again, this is where people go, well, do you have gold? And it's like, silver, gold, yeah, physical. Not trading the paper versions just yet. If I miss the initial breakout, that's fine. I don't really care. It's going to be a big move, right? Dollar, where it gets an interesting low of the day, right? The floatiest turd in the toilet. Worth keeping an eye on. The VIX, it's been interesting because it gaps up the last 2 days. Usually at the lows, when it's about to move, it gaps up. But here it is, options expiration, middle of July. Start of earnings. Okay, it makes sense why some people would be hedging and buying that, right? Because the blackout buyouts or buyout blackout is over, or started, sorry. Let me make sure I get my wording right. So worth a watch. Again, I like to watch the VIX to see how it's like waking up, coming off the range lows. Interessante. SPY posted this again. Watching this like 563 area. You can see a little better on the 10-minute. Very clear, right? Just so for you audio visual folks, right? Some of this is after hours action. Watching this area, right? Keep an eye on it. Because again, if it can get over it, then I guess you can't be bearish. And just if it is bearish, watch for traps, right? Meaning it gives it up right away. QQQ has started to lag. We've talked about money coming out of the Qs. It's just a matter of if, not when, right? And again, I get folks who I don't know if they're listening. They say, always buy the Qs, always buy. I'm like, man, that trade becomes very dangerous when everyone thinks that. Who's left to buy? Again, go reread Reminiscent Stock Operator by Jesse Livermore, and you'll remember that, right? Like when the masses are all in, there's no one left to buy. Think of it as like oxygen for a fire, right? The fire's just burned. There's no oxygen left. Like there's no buyers potentially. Like you're running low. Got to be careful. QQQ 8-10 day. Once that breaks, I mean, it's just a matter of when before we touch the 20 day, in my opinion. Just a matter of when. IWM. This is where again, impressive. If you bought it, traded it, wanted to take shorts, thank God did not. Said kind of watching the carry and the home builders and all these junior things going, okay. Again, if money's leaving tech, it's all jumping into IWM near term. Seems really kind of difficult to step in front of that train just yet, especially during options expiration, especially if you know that during options expiration, one part of the week will be up, one part will be down, and you'll get some choppiness. So what's the rush? Especially if the Monday's up, why would Tuesday not be up? And there it goes. And if you went long it makes sense too. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you can't go long. No, fuck. Do what works. Do is what is working. So if people are piling into the IWM, which they are, there you go. Dia catching some bids too. People are buying some industrials. Look at that. Congrats. Again, long, short, whatever you're doing, be careful. Speaking of the gold, auto. Oh, sorry. Click on it. Gold. Here you go. Breaking out. New all-time highs. Got to close over it. Professional gap or novice gap, your guess. I mean, again, there's gaps in the gold chart all the time because, again, it trades 23 hours a day or whatever it ends up being. So here you go. Worth a watch. Worth a watch. But here's the hard part. Like I really want to see silver lead. That's the problem. If I want to believe in like a strong miners, again, risk on in this space, I want to see silver leading, and I want to see GDX pumping, which again we've talked about. It's been holding up pretty damn well. Pumping today. It wasn't the last couple days. All right, is it all in unison together? That's the thing. And this is the biggest problem I have is I hate when it happens during options expiration. Why? Because I've gotten caught seeing this going, oh man, it's going. It's gonna go. It's like no. So keep an eye on it. Again, longer term, this is where I have zero doubt in my mind. Like if you disappear and you talk to me in a year or two, 12, 18 months, yeah, this stuff will be higher. How was that path? That's the question. So only you know how to invest based on your time horizons. We talked about Newmont. Again, if you got long it in the 43, 44 area, made sense. Makes dollars, makes sense. Next resistance, obviously low 50s we talked about. Again, this is all stuff we talked about on the daily market reviews. Again, so if you have questions, this is where you want to chime in. Say something. Don't be scared. All right, we talked about oil, how it should hold up if Trump is doing well, and then solar lagging. We talked about this yesterday, like some of the solar names, like, man, big gap downs, new lows. Now, here's the thing, right? Still in the oversold position, right? That rally, 50-day, backing off. Again, I'd be looking to short solar on pullbacks. Here's the thing, though, with oil and gas. Again, I like oil and gas names if Trump is going to be successful and survive all the shootings, 9 lives that guy has, right? This stuff makes sense. But again, if the market pulls back, don't be surprised if what? Throw the baby out with the bathwater. Apple, a lot of people were like, I missed the short. I'm like, posted this morning looking for any pops. Like that feels like a novice gap trap. I mean, they said they added $8 billion in revenue from India last quarter. Wow, $8 billion. Do the market cap and the revenue of Apple. What is $8 billion? It's crumbs, y'all. It's crumbs. I'm not saying that the long term is not strong for India. I mean, it doesn't matter. That's not the point. This has gone on a monster run already. Is that a novice gap trap? That's what I'd be watching out for. Now, I know they've got earnings coming up in time, but something smells fishy. Again, if you can smell it, let me know. Leave a comment below. Amazon, we talked about running up into the prime day, hitting the 200-day, every time it hits 200, Bezos says, I got to sell another $1 billion of shares. Keep an eye on it. Meta, here you go. Rotation out of tech, right? We talked about this. 50, 100-day. Said this felt like a bull trap. Go watch that video on 7-8. I'm like, I don't like it. So high and tight is bullish, but we said, watch what happens. This candle said, you fudged. You lose. Now it's a 20-day. Said at some point, 150-day cross. Now what? Now you go zoom out. This is where I think people get a little like crazy. Like, okay, look at this trend. Look at this mother fudger. You want to chase it up here? Go right ahead. You got to be high. Now, I'm not saying it has to necessarily dump, but worst case scenario, it's going to go into a big chop consolidation. And if you did short the highs, you must be feeling good. I mean, we could run through all these tech names. Anyone have a request? Because again, CRM, this one feels like it peaked and pop after it got smacked. Google, watch out. 20-day, again, another one of these trades. Remember, not all tech is equal, so just 10 cuidado, right? Microsoft, we talked about this left-right combo at the high. Now it's breaking the 20-day. Not sure why you wouldn't come right back down to, 50, this whatever range you want to call this, where this gap fills. Don't bring a ruler. Watch in this area. It makes sense, right? Back to Reddit. If my man Jay Sol says, again, love this. It feels like a bull trap breaking out. Multiple wicks. Can't get over it. Professional gap down. Looking for any bounces. The short would make sense. MicroStrategy. Congrats again. We talked about this thing getting up into this upper zone. If you rode that sucker, going into the split, going into all this stuff. Yeah, just again. Now near term, please roll up your stops. Do yourself a favor. Trade around your positions. Lock in some options. Do not be an all or nothing trader all the time. Netflix, we talked about this, has an earnings Thursday after the close, watching the 50-day. Again, I don't know why anyone would be buying this stock. It's an absolute... Again, there's like no growth. It's competitive. Everyone's just cutting prices. Good luck. PANW, we like this one. Holding high and tight. Looks all right. Good old Tesla said, watch the 265 area. If you get a retest, you're fucking welcome. You got it. Now, if you're bullish, you got to take more profits here. You got to take more profits. You have to raise your stops when you get those retests. What if this is ending up playing like a Reddit, right? Where it chops at the highs, breaks out, fakes out, comes right back. Now everyone's like, oh, Elon's giving 45 mil to Trump every quarter, was it, or something? Not every month, but that's priced to perfection near term. Worst case scenario, you're going to chop out for a little bit going into earnings, right? SMH, talked about these lagging again. All these upgrades at the highs. I'm a big fan of when brokers upgrade at the highs after big moves and then people just chase in. It's literally the easiest way for your brokers, for the big money market makers to just absolutely crap all over retail. Look, upgrade the price. It's already up 500%, 1,000%. Let's upgrade the price. And guess who's buying? Grandma, I read NVIDIA's going to the moon. Okay, Grandma. Intel. Now this one where I think, again, there could be value. But high and tight after filling the gap. This thing got beat in half, basically. So it's probably not one of the names that I'd be sitting here looking to short, right? SMCI getting added to S&P 500. Again, I would be looking for pullbacks to buy. This thing had good earnings. I don't anticipate anything going badly other than market pressures potentially pulling it down. But if it does, watch the levels. This is what I was talking about, like when you talk about big up moves and what follows, right? Like people are like, oh man, all I see is this. And then this is what potentially follows. Right? Trade it, mother fudger. NVIDIA, speaking of, someone predicted 98% drop in NVIDIA. I wouldn't be surprised. If someone makes a better chip than them, they could go out of business in time. And not out of business, but you know what I mean? Like their margins would get squeezed. All the premium that the stock is trading at could just get absolutely pulled out. Rug pull. Let me remove that. All right. 20-day. We've talked about this. Like, this keeps lagging. Market, IWM, so good. Yeah, 67%. Yeah, I would not be surprised. This is not out of the ordinary for tech. No dividend. All competition company. Why would anyone just, again, you see the insiders unloading. They can't shit this out fast enough. Yet, everybody and their mom in retail goes, oh, I got to buy it. So, watch NVIDIA 20-day. Again, if we break below it, loving it. If you bought the NVDS in the mid to low 30s, you're feeling pretty good. Feeling good. Feeling great. How are you? AMD, we talked about once it held the trend line, it could get up into these areas. Look at it, 3-day range. You have a short reference, 187. Kind of joked about how that was murder. And here you are. Watch the close because this could wick out if the market holds up. Again, this is a name I probably would not short going into earnings. Micron had earnings. Look at this. Oops. Now it's breaking the 50-day. Eric said the same, posting that in the Discord room. Yeah, oops. If you, I mean, again, you break 127. I mean, look at, like, you can go watch it on the intraday. Let me see if I get a good chart that might look a little sexier. Let me find the 60-minute. You break this level, and you can flush this son of a bitch down the toilet. So think about why this has potential to flush, right? Chop, 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 trap, 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 trap. Trying to make like the voice from, like, was it Jason movies? Friday the 13th? No, Friday the 13th. Whatever. And he's just like danger. Or let's get some like Jaws, like like, be careful, because if all these people who bought get trapped, yikes, then they turn into sellers. And again, anyone who bought up here already got beaten, and they're like, well, hold on. So keep that in mind. That's one worth watching to me, because I think the thing could get beaten. Taiwan Semi's got earnings coming up Thursday. I don't think it's before the close. I don't know. It's whatever. Thursday. 10 cuidado. Insight. Again, nobody. Has anyone bought this stock? Anyone stuffed this in their IRA for the long term? Let me know. Because again, I'm telling you, they will get bought out, in my opinion. You were like, well, how do you know much about something? Again, just public information. Very, very easy. Oh, yes. ASML has earnings tomorrow. Yep. I wrote that down too in the morning. And housing starts, building permits, industrial production, capacity utilization. Yep. Who, again, if they follow the micron view in earnings, that could get real ugly in tech. Again, I like this company. Their studies are showing well. All the public FDA data looking good. Keep an eye on that. McDonald's, we talked about this, playing games. Maybe it chops around before earnings. I mean, that is a bear trap. No. So are you surprised that if it gets up to 260s? I wouldn't be. DKNG, again, we show you this, like, these bear trap situations. Here it is. Said at worst, you're going to bounce something. We filled the gap. Maybe close enough. Watching the 40 area. Airbnb. Just trying to think of anything else here. This is 200-day bounce. Costco. This thing looks like it's toast. And you're a bear. You love this action. Because, again, if you go look at the hourly. Right? Look at that. You've got a reference. You break it, you buy. No, I'm just kidding. You break it, you short. Keep an eye on that, right? Starbucks, talked about this, holding the range lows. Not surprised. Oof. In the oversold position, bounces. Now it's holding here. Again, market's green, trying to probably screw some put buyers. FedEx, glad I did not. Why does it always, every time I click on FedEx, it just takes me to an alert? The Federal Express, glad we did not stay short this one. Tried to get it and popped off. Okay. Got to give it credit. I mean, again, people are moving out of tech. They're buying industrials. We told you this was going to happen at some point. Caterpillar. Same kind of thing. Watching, going, oh boy. Ooh boy. Now, again, you want to long it, go right ahead. Next reference would be up here near 363. Going into earnings. I think they have earnings next week, if I had to guess. Things you don't want to get stuck in front of. Nucor earnings next week on Monday. Again, talked about the short squeeze, professional gap. I mean, this is the thing. If you want to long certain things, it makes sense. Eric making a good reference. JB Hunt earnings after the close today. Be careful. That'll be interesting how the transports. Financials blew my brains out. Get the hell out of here. Chasing them. People are. We talked about the KRE, right? With the IWM. Getting into the no doubt fail zone, in my opinion. Here we are, getting close to it, we fill the gap. I mean, anything's possible. People chasing junior banks. Did anyone see Bank of America's write-offs and charge-offs potential? I mean, I think they were like $40-50 billion in losses in their portfolio that they have to roll over. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? I don't know. Just 10 cuidado. Sorry, getting some text. Carry. I mean, again, like I said, if you have a Marcus account, you shouldn't feel very worried about going losing your money in that. That's for damn sure. XBI, we talked about this again. We talked about just don't buy tech. You buy literally anything in the last couple of days. Come on, XBI. So trades. We're talking about some up trades. We said, hey, if XBI gets over 93, you got an up trade. Congratulations. Again, leave a comment below. I'm curious who's nailed that one because I know some people were talking about it. XHB, I mean, this was a mind fuck. Whew. Excuse my language. Really? Really? Okay. I mean, I guess Trump's winning. Then there you go. I don't know, man. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine on that one. XRT, kind of watching the retail name, starting to get a little juice here. Again, I saw the retail sales numbers. Let's go look at them again. Just double checker. And they were what? Exactly. Again, I don't want to quote the incorrect numbers. Retail sales came in weaker on, X auto. Yeah. Basically flat X auto overall. 0 versus 0.3 prior. Again, coming down. That's why, again, I think why the Fed Fund future is showing a rate cut more likely. Just kind of throwing some names in here, watching them. Nike, this thing got blasted. Retail sales are great. Coin, I know a lot of people are trading this one. This one's interesting because, again, if you get the references, I think there's a trade there. Disney, again, I'm not a big fan on this one. Look at that thing, right? One big red flag for me is a local bar and grill took food off the menu for happy hour. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not a happy hour connoisseur, but I do like to frequent them in my areas because they do have like some pretty good snack. Again, if you don't want to cook, sometimes going out to happy hour is a really good opportunity to get some good snacks, not have to worry about cooking, save a little money. Again, nothing wrong with done any of that. Being thrifty. Notice the same thing. Nobody around. Like, what the fudge happened? Now, could it be the summer? Again, I'm not going to just assume like, oh, world's ending because of happy hours, but makes sense. Like, something's a little funky. Anyone take the, talked about ag names being oversold? You're welcome. Gesundheit. Right? We talk about Mosaic, all these names. Do to bounce, do to bounce, do to bounce, do to bounce. All right. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns? 27 minutes. We can stick around and chat, but if there's nothing much to say. But I'm with you, Dan. I've noticed things like that, right? I've noticed that things like that a lot. I think one of the things that you're seeing with folks, and I think this is natural, wages aren't keeping up, cost of things are going up, fear of the election, fear of who's going to win. Some people talk about selling their houses and moving to Europe. If you want to sell your house, let me know. I can help you out with that. Again, if that's what you want to do, I would not highly advise that one. But there's a lot of instability coming up where both sides. I mean, I don't want to talk about what ifs, but let's talk about it. Like, what if Trump's head was another direction? What if he wasn't looking at a chart? I mean, we're having a totally different conversation this week. We're talking again, I have no clue how the course of history would play out if that man had his head turned a different direction. Yeah, I don't think Europe's in better shape either. Again, might be prettier in some places and more historic with older buildings, but in a better position? I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, NVIDIA, I was watching these. So, yeah, if you have any questions, thoughts, like I said, I mean, the whole course of, and here's me talking, this is me being candid, like what I think ultimately will happen in the next few months, and this is where I think it's going to get kind of wild. And again, I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist because usually conspiracy things end up being true. But I do think that something's going to happen to Biden, and how that's going to be presented, how that's going to be laid out, how that's all going to look, how it's going to affect the markets, no clue. I just do think highly that something will. How that plays out, what that ends up being, trust me, don't know. But would anyone disagree with the fact that, not even fact, what are the odds that guy makes it to the election? What are the odds he makes it till November? And meaning not whether he's alive or not, like in the candidacy, right? Like, what are the odds? I mean, someone's probably got a bookie, right? Got to ask GME. GameStop? That's a good, that's my thing. that one is dead, in my opinion. I don't know. It just, once Roaring Kitty got, I don't know, spayed and neutered, again, it's the same kind of thing. After a big up move, choppy action, I mean, they're trying to squeeze it again. I guess some little trash floating here. I mean, this is a trading vehicle. It just seems like if you're buying this stock now, it's like the crazy upside doesn't seem to be there. So that's the thing, right? Didn't he move on to Chewy now? Like, that's his next stock. So that's the thing. Like, only suckers are now buying. And I mean suckers like the people who are like, oh, the next move is coming, right? Like and that's what I mean. Like, it could pop some, and I'm not talking like it can't go up, but I'm just saying like it's like the third iteration of suckers, like in reminiscent of Stock Operator, like the third guy line of people. I like it as a funded shell now. I mean, a shell of what? How do you know they don't burn the cash? Like, what are they doing? Like, it's, I mean, if you wanted to buy a SPAT or something, I don't know, SPAC, whatever. I don't know. I don't want to overthink that stuff because I've seen these things turn into absolute turds. I mean, what's the market cap to vet, all these things? On what, 4 to 5 bill? I mean, you can sit here and make an argument for anything when you pull up any stock. Like, that's the thing. Like, we all have opinions. Go read articles that are positive. It'll tell you everything positive you want to know. Go read negative articles. It'll tell you everything negative. Personally, again, the big up move, the big squeeze, the, what is it? The mother of all shorts, MOAS. Good luck. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, how many people, like, what is it for, I don't know how long I heard this. But, oh man, here it comes, you got stuck. So, do you want to deploy capital into this? Maybe this is the pattern. Big up, test, one more retest, fail. I hope that is the case for bulls. Because if not, then they're going to really fucking hate their lives. Excuse my language. Because what are you going to do? Like, that looks just, again, this is what's so hard, and I'm saying, and again, it's not me critical. It's like, I've heard this kind of shit because this isn't the first time that this kind of stuff happens, where it's like, ooh, I'm waiting for the next squeeze, and it's like, no, you had to be in it beforehand, because that's where the most violence was coming from. The most people out of position, the most people who are either short to get squeezed or looking to put capital in to long it, in my opinion, right? Now people are like, oh, I made my money, and this is how I would think. The easy money's gone. Why would I go big on this? I mean, they raise cash. What are they buying? Bitcoin now? I mean, what's the business model? I mean, again, I don't even know. It's a funded shell. What are they going to start buying? NVIDIA processors and flipping them? I mean, you still got to do something with the money to get a multiple, right? I mean, to make it valuable, right? If you want, you can just buy a bank. That's hard. It's hard to know. And that's where, again, if you're trading it, you just define your risk. Looks like the 50-day. Again, it feels like the upside is going to be capped. Do you get the third squeeze? If you don't, this is where my biggest fear is anyone like long in these stocks is like, once you miss the big move, you better have some good cost basis to trade around it, or you could be stuck. You got to be stuck. And again, when they raise all those shares, think about it. Now you've created more toilet paper, right? They've created more shares, so of course they're going to become less valuable. Anyway, that's just my thoughts. Just my random thoughts. Look at good old Harmony Gold. Remember, this was stuck in the 2 to 3 range. Just looking at some of these gold names real quick. Again, this one's interesting. NFGC, is this the play here? Is this a play here? Worth a watch. Somebody piled in. But again, to buy 12 million shares of the stock at $3, I mean, that's not... You can make a $10 million bet. Some of these institutions, hedge funds, money managers, I mean, $10 million is like... Again, you do the math. Less than 1% of their portfolio. So it doesn't necessarily mean a big dog did. I mean, there's a lot of dogs that could do that. How about that? All right. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns, insights? Anyone have any thoughts? Want to share? Wins, losses, confusion? QQQ? Chop, chop? Fizz, fizz? Again, I really think that if the Feds are going to pivot, I wouldn't say chase it today. But I'm watching the TLT. And again, I think the Feds will pivot because I think this is the thing. Like, they're not, like, somebody knows something. And the best move before the real move is to always what? Set a trap. That's my biggest concern, is seeing the IWM rally here. Right? All the leaders once led. And this is the thing. When that capital goes, and it goes into defensive places, I mean, think about what the Feds want. Don't they want people to buy bonds? They have to fund the liabilities and the endless money printing. At some point, they want to get the rates down. Well, that's how you do it. So what is the backlog on data centers? Call it the backlog on Nvidia. Could hurt bottom line finally. I mean, again, I'm not going to go too deep into the obvious. To me, it's like commodities. I mean, chips are a commodity at some point. Nvidia cannot sustain endless dominance because someone's going to make a better chip. Someone's going to try to make a chip. Right? Somebody's going to come after them. Someone's going to make a new, better one. Right? And can they maintain that? We'll see. QDTE. What is that? I feel like I've heard it. What is QDTE? Oh, it's the covered calls ETF. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. It's the Q's covered call ETF. That doesn't look that safe to me. Wow, selling covered calls. Unless they're selling them deep in the money. I mean, they could... Wow, it's great. Yeah, weekly covered call dividend. I mean, yeah, what's the weekly dividend? 34 cents? I mean, if 34 cents a quarter gets you happy, and that's your kind of fit. It kind of scares me that this thing came out at this time in the market. Yeah. And Nvidia won't go down alone when someone makes a better chip. Of course, because everyone will make a better chip. Everyone will compete. Yeah, I struggle with this one, Dem. Came out, not a good history to really reference. Again, that's great that you will make $1 or something every month. So $3 every, say $4 every quarter, 10%. Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad ETF. If it sustains and it functions. That's that's the hardest part here. And that's my biggest concern, is that if it sustains, great. But here you go. You dropped 10% pretty damn quickly. Now, again, if you really wanted to trade it, I mean, where's the volume? Look at the shares. I mean, there's no volume on this sucker. That's what makes me a little nervous with it. It's a new product. But it definitely, I mean, if you're holding it and it's working, great. If it's not working, at some point you got to know how to cut. So, all right, I'm going to get running. I appreciate you guys a lot. I'm hoping everyone's doing well. Again, summer can be kind of a tricky time frame, just, right? Extremes, OPEX, July, as we talked about, the seasonality in gold. Like, do I trust it? Yeah, okay, we'll see. Yeah, I hope you have a wonderful day too. Like, again, we talked about there was an up move coming. To sustain. So, all right, I'll catch you guys later. Again, don't hesitate to reach out. Even if you just want to shoot the shit, hit me up. We can schedule something. Love to help you out. I'll talk to you guys and gals later. Peace.